What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to ToyShopFab. Now today I have kind of a fun little video, something that, well, it's kind of a revival video. And when I say revival, I mean we're going to revive this thing. This is my Facebook Marketplace, neglected. I have no idea if it runs. Predator 212. It's the non-Hemi one. Some of you, if you've been around, if you've been watching for a while, it used to be kind of thrown in the corner over here, and then it was thrown in a bucket or something over there, and then it was over there, and I just pulled it out of the shed over there. So I know the kids have been playing around with it. I'm pretty sure it does turn over. I have watched the kids do it. I can't, let's see. I mean, I just felt it kind of turn over. So, I'm sure it turns over, but it has no carb. It's dirty. I don't know if it has spark. I don't know if it runs. It came with our silver bullet Manco Dingo. It's kind of thrown in with part of the whole deal there. But I had a new engine sitting here, and I figured, let's not play with that thing. So I took it off, threw it over there, and we put a brand new engine on our silver bullet, which Seth blew up, which is the reason why it has a 440 on it now. He's smiling. Part of his plan, I think. But anyways, so kind of a little revival. It's neat. If it needs any parts, I have a bunch of parts sitting right here. I got spare carburetors. I've got remnants of a stage 1 kit. I got a spare coil, factory air box, another factory fuel tank. Now, I understand that a lot of people wouldn't have a bunch of these little engine parts just laying around, but you can go on eBay because a lot of these things are for sale. I think this is like 20 bucks for this guy. Maybe even cheaper. Factory rod I have here. I don't need that. But coil, stuff like that. You can find these parts cheap. And I have recently been finding these little engines too on Marketplace for anywhere from 20 to like 30 bucks for the engine, because they have no idea if it runs either. I've seen 2 of them for sale for like 50 bucks. So they're out there, and I know there's a lot of other little go-karts and stuff out there that are needing engines but can't buy new, you see what I'm saying? So I figured let's do a little revival, especially for someone who wants to kind of learn how to work on an engine as well, because these things, they are cheap. So I'm going to get you in the stand here, get you set up, and we're going to start just kind of getting this thing cleaned up and getting it ready, or just getting it, let's get it fired up again. So let me get you in the stand and we'll get started. All right, got you in the stand. So first things first, let's get you down here so you can see what it is that I am doing. Now you can see all the grime and the gunk and everything that's on here. Not right there, you can't. Let's fix that. All right. So you see all the dirt and the grime. It's part of the governor. Now most of the linkage looks like it's still in place. Got the spring up here. Just missing a carburetor. And bent, looks like it's been dropped. Got the exhaust is on there. It's not loose or anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and leave that in its place. I do want to get this thing cleaned up, so I'm going to take this bracket off right here. Don't plan on reusing this bracket, so we can just kind of get rid of it. All right, now we got that off. Should fit in our little turkey pan. All right. Now I know cleaning it isn't going to really see if isn't going to make it run, but it's going to help keep my hands cleaner. Okay. So this is just regular Super Tech parts cleaner. Did it at Walmart. I think it's just over $3 a can, and it works really, really good at getting things pretty cleaned up. So we're just gonna spray some of that on there, get some of that dirt off. Help get this thing cleaned up a little bit. That way, if at least it doesn't run, it's going to look good doing it. That was a joke. Hope some of you laughed. All right, so see how well this stuff works. I actually like it. Normally, it's a little bit more expensive than your brake cleaner, the SuperTech brake parts cleaner, but only by like, I want to say 30 cents a can. And this stuff works really, really good. But I do have to warn you, it goes twice as fast as brake cleaner. I know that sounds terrible, but if you learn throttle control on your little thing here, it'll help. So you just spray it on there. You can kind of see how things are it's just kind of washing off, kind of falling off. You spray it on there, you let it sit for a minute, come back to it. Things gonna look nice. Plus, when things are nice and clean, it kind of helps motivate me anyway. See? Gone. That's okay. Got a backup can right here. So, you could use purple power too, a little brush. You don't have to use this stuff. Alright. It's not 100%, but it does look a heck of a lot better. I'm sure you guys would agree. Turn this thing around. Come down off of here. Don't want to spray directly into that guy. I'm definitely going to try to keep it out of this for right now. Right. And if it's in the pan, you can get a little rag too if you want it and just kind of wipe some of that on there, just to get a lot of that dirt and grime off there. Like I said, not completely necessary, and just because it's clean doesn't mean it's gonna run. So I just wanted to get some of that junk off there, make it a little bit more nicer to work on. Kind of see if there's any other issues going on anywhere, anything like that. Alright, so now we got that kind of, most of that stuff blowing off. Let's go ahead and put our guy right back here on the table. Hey, look at all that. That is gross. Go ahead and pull our little spark plug wire. Get our spark plug out, see what that. Okay. That's loose. Get the spark plug out, should help us turn it over a little easier, just to make sure. Like I said, it's a little Gokart engine. Spark plug doesn't look too bad, but then again, I don't know if this is the original one, or it does look like the way that's, let's get it to focus. It does look like though, if this was the plug is from this, it is a tad, maybe just a tad bit rich. That's all right. We'll get her cleaned up. Now you got the spark plug out of there. Oh yeah. Turns over nice and free. That's good. Put our finger over there, see if it's got, what kind of compression it's got. Oh, yep. Come up against my thumb. So, got good compression. Now these studs are bent. We don't need those. Let's get those out of there. I'm just using a pair of vice grips. And they're locked. They're the real ones, actually. So this thing looks like it's been dropped. Get that out of there. Come on. Feels like kind of, oh, there it goes. Almost felt like it was hanging up in the head. But it's coming out, just kind of got to wiggle on it a little bit. And if you guys don't have vice grips to do what I just did, you can find a couple of nuts too. Spin one on, take another nut, go right up against it. Make sure you have at least a full nut. Bring this first one you just in there, bring it on in, kind of lock it up against the first one here. And you can use a wrench on your nuts, and that'll help. So you grab a wrench. Alright, so take your two nuts, put them on there, tighten your outside nut up against your inside nut. Make sure it's nice and snug. And then you can take and use these guys here to back out your studs. So, simple little trick. I'm sure they show it somewhere else on YouTube, but sometimes we get stuck in our ways. Alright, so those studs are out of here. Gasket looks like it's in fairly decent shape. It's got two gaskets. Cool. And then there is like a little separator plate and another gasket. So, let's see what that looks like. That gasket is bad. No good, so we're going to have to clean that up. Here's a little separator plate. It's kind of like helps isolate the heat from your carburetor. This goes on the head, so you got a gasket on this side. Slides up onto the little studs we just took out. Then you have another gasket here. It's kind of a spacer. It helps keep the heat off your carburetor. You guys know these little air-cooled engines, they do run fairly hot, especially if you go on a go-kart, running all day, lawnmowers, weed eaters, stuff like that. I mean, so if you can keep the carburetor from getting hot, keep it from vapor locking on you, that's good. I'm pretty sure I have a extra gasket. Now here's another little thing too. If your gasket ever breaks or gets stuck or torn on aluminum stuff, if you kind of just take your razor blade here and not dig, let's see here, maybe there we go. Let's use this guy for demonstration purposes. Just part of an old carburetor. You see it's got stuck gasket right here. Now you can take your razor blade and kind of do this and kind of dig into it, but sometimes it'll gouge in the aluminum. If you just hold it straight on like this and just kind of scrape over the top of it and go back and forth, it'll help keep you from gouging into the aluminum. It's also going to show you where all your little high spots are at too. You can see here, It's high all the way around the center of this carburetor. It's kind of low, so you can actually kind of help flatten your carburetor out doing that way, but that's not why we're here. So we'll just take the little edge and kind of scrape it off. But I don't know if you can pick it up. You can see all the outside edge of that carburetor is shinier than the inside. It's all high. If you hold your razor blade flat, it'll help scrape the gasket off. And if you kept doing it, you could actually flatten your carburetor out, but gasket will seal that just fine. So we'll go ahead and get the gasket off this guy here. Get this base all cleaned up. All right, cleaned up, ready to go. Now, while we're here though, we got our spark plug out. Let's see if I can see if we can get some spark here. Where is a good spot for this guy? For spark. Just hold on to it right there. See if I can shock myself. Right up against the valve cover. That'll work. They got a switch. Let's turn the switch on. That might help. Because I saw no spark. Oh yeah, good spark. See if I can get you guys down in here so you can see it. Seth, do me a favor, hold this right here. Go ahead and get you guys down in here so you can hopefully see the spark. So you can see right in there. You got it, Seth? Yep. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but we got good spark. Thank you, bud. No problem. So, we've already checked it. Let's get you back a little bit farther now. Now we have my thumb over the spark plug hole. It's got compression. We just pulled the plug and checked it. Got spark. So now all we need is fuel. But before we do that, do we have oil in our little case? Now, like I said, this thing's been sitting outside in the shed, been kicked around. It doesn't have a dipstick. Great. Find flashlight. Oh yeah, plenty. It's full of oil. So we'll use that for right now. Actually, no, we won't. It's been outside, probably got a bunch of water in it, gas, all that other neat stuff. So, grab our little pan that we had, slide it right up underneath our table here. Let's see, let's turn this around. All right, that way everyone can see the oil coming out. Go ahead and pull our plug. Oh yeah, definitely glad I decided to do that. You guys hear that? Gas. Oh, a lot of gas in there. I don't know why. doesn't have a carburetor. Or maybe that's why it doesn't have a carburetor. Because it was leaking gas, or they flooded it. Maybe that's why, or how they bent the little studs on the engine. And that is a lot of fluid coming out of this thing. It doesn't look like water, although there's not to say there wouldn't be any water in it, but whew. But that is a lot. It's pretty thin. Yep, smells like old gas. So someone was playing with it, realized the carburetor didn't work, took the carburetor off, got mad or something. Alright, so we got this thing all drained of its oil. Let's go ahead and put our plug back in. Get some fresh oil in it. Now the oil I'm going to be putting in this thing is what I have sitting on the bench over there. Rotella T4. Not on purpose. Oh, look at that. Found the dipstick. So, the way this thing will mount, probably want to trade sides. So we'll go ahead and just put the dipstick. We're going to swap sides with it, but for the time being, let's put oil in on this side. Got our little funnel. Oh yeah. Woohoo! Nice fresh oil. Now we've checked. Like I said, it's got compression, it's got spark. It's all an engine needs. It's 4 things. Some people will tell you 3, but it's 4. You need fuel, you need air, you need compression, you need spark. So, any one of those things is missing, it's not going to run very good. So, throw a little bit more oil in there. All right. Oil's full. Put our caps on, so now we got fresh oil in it. Dipstick says we're full, we're good. All right. Kind of give it a few yanks. The rods in here, if you do not know, they look like this little guy here. This is a factory rod out of a Hemi style 212, but they're all fairly similar. They have this little dipper on here. What it does is when it comes around, this little guy hits the oil and it kind of just flings it everywhere. Comes up around, oil gets flung up, kind of runs down. It's supposed to make its way into this little hole right here and kind of help lubricate the rod against the crank. Now this is a factory, kind of like a cast aluminum rod. It has no bearings. So if you upgrade to like a billet rod, it comes with little Babbitt bearings. This scooper is a little more, is definitely a lot stronger and it has a little hole at the end of a billet rod that when it hits the oil, it kind of slaps it and forces it up the rod through another hole, through the bearing and all that, instead of just relying on this little guy splashing oil and making it in here. So that's how that works. Right now I was just kind of just letting it splash oil up all over the place. Hopefully throw some in there. So let's go ahead and put our plug back in. Now we don't have a carburetor, or I do somewhere around here, but for giggles, let's see if it fires. Okay. Now, this is not exactly the brightest way to do this because you have no throttle control. Go ahead and snug our little spark plug. Get this guy on here. We know it works. Now what I'm going to do is got some gas. Like I said, not the brightest way to do this. Got no throttle control, but it does have compression. We checked it with my thumb. It does have spark. Hopefully you guys saw that. Definitely going to have plenty of air. So just going to go ahead and tilt this guy a little bit. Put a little bit of gas down there. Nice. Kind of let it run in and trickle. Yep, I just felt it. Go in, now come up on compression. So now let's have Seth come on over here. And he's not here. So my little peanut, Delilah, we're going to have her hold on to this guy right here. Now it's going to jump on you. Okay, it's going to go ring, hopefully. So just put your hands right here. Okay, use both of them. Kind of hold it. You got it? Mm-hmm. I'm going to keep my hand off of this because that's hot. It's exhaust. So, you ready? Mm-hmm. All right, it fired up. Also threw out a bunch of junk. Like, I don't know what that is. There's a lot of it. It just flew out from behind this little, flew out from everywhere. So, we have a runner, so that is good. But now let's see if we can't keep it running. And that is by, let's see what we got. So, here's a factory air box that I have laying around, and I got studs attached to it. I like to hold on to these things for a little while. Kind of a pack rat, at least for up until the point where I think I don't need them anymore, and then I throw them away, and then I need them. All right, here's our studs. It's got the kind of like a neck size right here. This is the side that's going to go towards the head. And then you have the long, smooth with threads that goes to the outside. That's what the carburetor slides over. So go ahead and thread these guys on there. Nice and straight. Go ahead and use our little nut trick. Spin one nut on there, spin that nut. Go ahead and tighten this guy up against that one. Get that guy threaded all the way on. Nice and snug. Once it's snug, you can just use your wrench, go on the second nut one. Break it free. Go ahead and snug up the other stud as well the same way. There we go. we have got a gasket somewhere around here. Let's see, I've got a metal one. Let's see how well that lines up. Not very good. It doesn't go to this one. Maybe it does. I have two. Alright, well this one did not have one of these. So I have, there we go, a paper gasket right here. Go ahead and slide that guy on. See how it works. Looks like it'll do. There we go. That fits much better. All right, so we got our gasket on there. Go ahead and put our little temperature, our little spacer, our little isolator. We'll go ahead and slide that guy on. Right, loosen up this little heat shield down here now. Our studs were bent, so that piece just came out. Heat shield. Go ahead and drop that guy a little bit. Get our isolator to slide all the way on. There we go. Perfect. Now put our 8mm back in. Good to go. So now we got our little isolator. We got our gasket there. We got our isolator. Now we've got another gasket that goes in place. Now I should have, yep, a dirty, but it is a complete carburetor, I hope. Got the little on-off guy. Yep, that'll work. Choke. Right here. Got that guy. Functional throttle. Yep. That guy is good. Now this thing still has all of its governor pieces hooked up. We're gonna leave that for right now. My main concern is just getting this thing to run. So that it's here, I'm going to go ahead and just hook up throttle that is here. Maybe. Let's see. Leaving the governor hooked up and all of that. Oh, there we go. And once that goes into place, yep. All right. So that is hooked up. That is ready to go. A little linkage, everything. So this will be controlled by the governor. Nice. That guy is there. Now let's go ahead and put this air box. Now this is a Hemi style air box, so I don't know how well it'll fit this particular engine. It doesn't line up with the little port on the valve cover. That is okay, but it does look like it will clear everything else. And there's where our metal gasket comes in. It's got these two little air bleeds or air ports. Those cannot be blocked. You ever let's see if you can get down here. See if you can. There's a little air. Let's take this off. So there's a little air hole right here. And right here. I know as a kid I used to take air cleaners off of other things. I think I was upgrading little engines and I blocked those little holes off. Doesn't allow air in, can't pull fuel. it kind of messes it up. So make sure if it's got those little holes there, they're not obstructed. So, and that is why we have this little guy here. So I got a couple of those. Go ahead and throw that guy on. Not covering up any of the holes. Nope. There we go. Perfect. So now we can go ahead and fit our little air box on. All right. Truthfully, let's go ahead and leave this guy off right now because it's going to need some fuel line for here. I do not have, oh yes I do. I've got some sitting right on a fuel tank. What do you know? I happen to have an extra fuel tank, and believe it or not, it's got hose on there. It's got a hose with hardware. So, doesn't go to this. This is a Hemi fuel tank, but we're gonna go ahead and just leave it there for right now, just to see how it works. Go ahead and hook this guy up there. Maybe that'll work too, maybe not. But for right now, let's there we go. A couple of spacers. We're going to leave the air box off for the time being. Because I will have to take it back off to get to the fuel. Go ahead and add some fuel into this guy. Go on. Oh. Fuel filter must be clogged. Great. That's right. Instead, we're leaving the air box off. Go ahead and pull that off. Let's see. Pull off this little clear hose right here. Go ahead and slide them on over our little carburetor. See if we can fill up the little hose here. All right, got some fuel in there. Go ahead and turn the choke on. Snug this guy down just so we have some kind of throttle control. Governor is hooked up, so it should not run away from us. Now, let's see if she will run. All right, let's go ahead and take the choke off. Maybe give it a little bit of idle. Right, try this again. Oh, yeah. And our kill button works. So, that's cool. right? Just a little engine. Some of you guys have seen me kick around, move around. It's been sitting on a bench, been sitting on a wall. Had no idea if it ran. I figured this would be a neat little, you know, it's an engine revival basically, because now you can go out on Marketplace and find a go-kart to put it on. Or, you know, make something like a drift trike, skateboard, that would be fun. Scooter, off-road scooter. Now there's something we could probably do, off-road scooter. But, not right now. What I am planning on doing with this though, is I'm going to go ahead and I do have another whole little torque assembly or torque converter setup for one of these little guys here. I may or may not have mentioned that I did purchase another Manco Dingo, got it off Marketplace, found it for 150 bucks. Could not pass it up. And so we're gonna bring that guy out and we're gonna install this engine on that go-kart. That way some of the younger kids, that's another reason why I didn't pull the governor off this either. If any of you or some of you newer folks may not have seen the Silver Bullet Manco Dingo, it's got a big block 440, 18 horsepower that thing is. It's a little out of control. It's got a lot of weight on the back. Very hard to steer. And every once in a while it'll take off on its own. Ask that. And I did not catch it on video, but the poor little guy managed to park that go-kart underneath the front of my Mustang. So far underneath the front, in fact, that I had to use a floor jack to jack the car up to get the go-kart out. So, that was fun. Scared me. But anyways, it's got a kill switch on it now. Has not done it since. And I don't let them ride it anywhere near the shop. But I figured the little ones, they'd want to have some fun too. And that thing is a little much for them. So, 6.5 horse, gonna have it governor, bone, stock, 212. It should be a lot of fun for those guys. So, that is on a different video though. This one was just a little revival, kind of help some of you guys out there who want to start little hobbies or learn how to work on engines and stuff. This one, I mean, I had a pretty good idea. I mean, I haven't really ran across too many of these things that won't run unless it's broken internally or valves are stuck, things like that. But if the valves are stuck, you can usually take these things apart, spray some WD-40 or some Aerocoil, PB Blaster, and kind of work them back and forth. You know, you can get things freed up. Sanding the flywheel, because there's corrosion there, the magnet won't pick it up to set for spark. Or the gap between the magnet and the flywheel, you can use a business card, set in between those guys, loosen the bolts, let it go down, tighten the bolts back up, pull the business card out. Usually set pretty close. It'll fire, but most of the time these things will run unless there's something wrong internally. So if you find them on Marketplace and you're wondering, pick it up, buy it, right? I've seen them lately, 20, 30 bucks, and you can tinker out here, you can clean it up like we just did, fire it up, find some stuff on eBay, soup it up, right? Probably have to come up with a different fuel tank, or I might make some brackets to make this fuel tank work. I gotta get a different filter for it apparently, because the fuel would not come through that, and it sounded kind of what's that little instrument that makes noise when you shake it? A maraca. That's what it sounded like. It sounded kind of like a maraca, and I did not want any of that in this brand new carburetor. So, anyways, you guys, that is our revival for our little Predator 212. Hope you guys enjoyed. Hit that subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Helps the guy out. Go out there, right? Work on a project. Have some fun. Learn something new. Just learn something new. It's fun. You trust me. You will have some fun. But anyways, guys, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give me a thumbs up. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. And I'll catch you guys on the next one.